From trainee assassin to Black Swan, it's been quite a journey in Hollywood for Natalie Portman. Here we look at this remarkable movie star's top moments.
Natalie Portman's just magnetic on screen.
She was someone who was always questing to do interesting work.
Put her at the centre of a film and she's far more compelling than she is sort of sharing it with people.
Why did you hide a secret?
This building's full of rats. I didn't want my old man to find out. Got enough problems.
At the age of 12, Natalie made a big name for herself when she starred opposite Jean Reno and Gary Oldman in Léon.
I think Natalie Portman absolutely turned everyone's heads making Léon. I mean, we hadn't seen her before. This was her first screen role. Nobody knew anything about her. She's just this amazing kid.
Natalie Portman in Léon just blows me away every time I watch it. She's so young, and you know, it's just her playing this young orphaned girl up against Jean Reno, who's this hitman with a heart. And it's a very adult film, but she brings a lightness to it.
Leanne, what exactly do you do for a living?
Cleaner.
You mean you're a hitman?
Yeah.
Cool.
She had this incredible presence on screen. She was holding her own against Jean Reno and Gary Oldman. So absolutely, she was someone who was beeping firmly on the radars of every Hollywood studio off the back of the movie.
By putting Natalie Portman up against Jean Reno, who is huge, and of course playing this contract killer, or hired killer, was a stroke of genius, because what Besson did was in fact reverse the actual psychologies of the roles, and that he is the innocent and she is far more knowing.
Can we try with real bullets now?
Not today, let's pack up.
A character is required to make a lot of decisions, engage in a lot of things that, you know, no child of that age or young person of that age, teenagers, should have to go through, including, you know, a lot of death. And she emerges from this very changed. It's a performance that is ramped up far beyond her years. You know, there is a wise head on a young shoulders here. And it was a great kind of calling card for her.
So, how old were you when you made your first hit?
19.
Beat ya.
So we're probably the only ones left in the city this weekend.
We usually go to Southampton, but this weekend we had tickets to a show.
Having starred in Luc Besson's Léon, another big-name director snapped her up when she was cast in Woody Allen's Everyone Says I Love You.
Everyone Says I Love You, which of course is the musical that Woody Allen made. It's a very charming film. It's a big ensemble. And what's interesting about the movie is that it's everyone sings, but they're not singing in a very professional musical way. It's almost like how any of us would sing if we were in a movie.
My baby don't care who knows it. My baby just cares for me.
One of Woody's stranger concoctions, he decided to shoot in Paris and tell a kind of love story stroke, musical stroke, sort of, portmanteau film about different cross-sections. Portman she drew so much attention to her so quickly that she became almost a fashion to be put amongst many different directors.
Like all actors, certainly American actors, everybody wants to be in a Woody Allen film. She was in Everybody Says I Love You, which is Woody Allen's only musical film, as far as I know, and an absolute delight from start to finish. She's surrounded by extraordinary actors. I mean, it's an extraordinary cast. You know, Goldie Hawn, Alan Alda. Just wherever you look, they're sort of film stars. You know, American film stars. She was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 when she made that, and she holds her own very, very well in it.
Why don't you just leave the Roosevelt room the way the Roosevelts wanted it?
Because Eleanor Roosevelt was too fond of chintz.
Yet another big-name director got on the Natalie Portman bandwagon when Tim Burton cast her in his alien invasion extravaganza, Mars Attacks.
I enjoyed Mars Attacks. You know, Tim Burton, king of quirk, probably one of his quirkier films. But again, Natalie Portman's part in it I don't think was that significant. She played the president's daughter. She was very sweet in it. I think she was good casting the president's daughter.
I loved Mars Attacks. I thought it was just hilarious. I loved the Martians and how creepy they were, and she played the president's daughter. And, you know, she just, again, it wasn't a huge role for her, but it was a solid delivery.
Tim Burton, you know, enjoys the revelry of imagination, and he did a kind of a rather ragged but very entertaining spoof on the Invasion movie. And again, it was an ensemble piece. It was lots of intertwined stories, all being affected in a crazy manner by these strange little CGI bugmen. It's a fun film, and she's cute in it, and she's enjoyable in it.
Of course, everyone knows that Natalie would soon find herself involved in the ultimate space extravaganza when George Lucas cast her in the Star Wars prequels and put her in some pretty weird outfits.
I'm sure, you know, all of the actors who are involved in that trilogy, you know, look back with some fondness on the making of the films, if not on the actual outcome of the films.
I'm sure she doesn't look back on those movies and think, my performance in that was A-grade stellar, and these are really incredible pieces of cinematic history.
The film seemed to stifle her. They were so effects-driven, they were so sort of dependent on green screen and, you know, things that weren't there. She seemed burdened by these terrible headdresses in the first film, which seemed to wobble around. She was the Rio Carnival.
Natalie doesn't talk about Star Wars much anymore, but it helped make her a huge celebrity. But she was still very keen on the smaller independent films and struck critical gold with Garden State in 2004.
I recognize you.
Oh, did you go to Columbia High?
No, not from high school, from TV. Didn't you play the retarded quarterback?
Yeah.
Are you really retarded?
No, I'm not.
Cool.
Garden State for me was really what Reality Bites was for the 90s. It was this kind of, it captured kind of these 20-somethings who were groping around trying to work out life, and it was a little bit quirky, and it had a lot of kind of home truths that the audience who were around that age group could really relate to and identify with.
Garden State was a bit of a surprise breakthrough for Zach Braff. Everyone knew him, you know, on the TV in Scrubs, and here he was directing himself in this, you know, really rather wonderful little indie romantic comedy. Natalie Portman was playing potentially one of these slightly cliched roles of the kind of kooky, you know, male fantasy indie chick kind of girl, but I thought she brought a real flavour to it.
I mean, he's studying criminal justice at Rutgers, and when he was a baby, he was one of those kids with like the flies all over his face.
You know, Natalie Portman plays this kooky, pathological liar, and she's just very charming in it, you know, kind of off the wall, and there's a real chemistry with her and Zach Braff.
Portman is perfect in that environment. She becomes the kind of grounded, slightly eccentric, romantic focus of Braff's, you know, outsider character. She sort of draws out of him a sense of purpose, as only Natalie Portman can.
Wow. That's like the most worked up I've ever seen you.
He was protecting me.
So?
He likes me.
Don't be cute.
He's my knight in shining armor.
She kind of, at that time, was, I think in her life, she, you know, she was hanging out with kind of indie musicians. She was become quite a cool New York person, you know. She's never been very Hollywood. She's never kind of been the party girl, but she sort of fitted at that time quite into a kind of cool scene, an arty scene.
I gotta go bury this hamster before the dogs eat him. Wanna help? Hmm?
Do you live here?
Just arrived from New York.
Taking a vacation?
I'm on an expedition.
Where's your baggage?
Natalie entered the realm of heavy-hitting modern life movies with the star-studded Closer. Very few people can pull off a pink wig, but Natalie's one of them.
It was interesting to see Natalie, who at the time very much had a reputation for being the good girl, you know, grown up with his very strict family, had gone off to university, you know, quite serious, and here she was playing a stripper, you know, in a pink wig, getting kind of quite raunchy with Clive Owen.
20 years ago. How old were you?
4.
Christ. When I was in flares, you were in nappies.
My nappies were flared.
Closer, based on a play by Patrick Marber. I mean, it's quite a nasty film, and none of these characters are particularly likeable. So I think for Portman, who had up until that point been quite a sweet and likeable presence in films.
I don't love you anymore. Goodbye.
It's about four interconnected characters. You know, they variously fall in and out of love with one another, variously are tremendously cruel to one another for reasons that are quite beyond me. And it is meant to say something profound about the state of modern relationships. But I just kind of waited, you know, does no one's mother ever call in that universe? It's like they go through all these tremendous frustrations and they don't see anybody else. Is there no one's friend to come along and go, come down the pub and shut up moaning?
Natalie switched from a pink wig to no hair at all when she took on the shaven-headed role of Evie in the thrilling V for Vendetta. Very, very few people can pull off a shaven head, but Natalie's one of them.
One of the things that I loved about it was that it continued to throw things at me. It brought up questions that I never found answers to, and that I'm always sort of finding new sort of complications to my answers for them, and that's the kind of stuff that I love doing.
V for Vendetta, based on a comic book by Alan Moore, set in a future totalitarian Britain. Its resonance is 1984. She befriends a character called V, who's a masked freedom fighter, all those kind of Occupy masks, those Guy Fawkes masks you see come from V for Vendetta.
That it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Are you like a crazy person?
V for Vendetta is very interesting. I love it, actually. I was unsure of it when I first saw it, but it's sort of it's crept into my consciousness. And she rather bravely does a British accent in it.
V for Vendetta, again, was Natalie Portman kind of moving her career on, and it was going into this blockbuster, which was also adapted from a graphic novel. And I thought it was incredibly brave, as basic as it sounds, to go in there and shave off your head and do this British accent. And I think she really did it with aplomb.
Stay tuned, because when we come back, Natalie takes up ballet and then takes home an Oscar for her troubles. Welcome back to Movie Stars Top Moments, where today we're covering the highs and lows in the career of Natalie Portman. In 2007, Natalie was clearly in the mood for films with unusual titles. She teamed up once again with Jude Law in My Blueberry Nights, which is an odd name for a film, but then it did have Norah Jones in the lead.
Sometimes your rhythm's off. You read the person right, but still do the wrong thing. Because you trust them. Because you can't even trust yourself.
Natalie then followed up with Wes Anderson's The Darjeeling Limited, and finally there was Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium with Dustin Hoffman. But cinema goers weren't completely sold on the strange titles.
Are we going on an adventure?
Oh, my dear, we're already on one.
She, you know, like most careers, you know, you live or die by your choices sometimes. And Mr. Megorium's Magic Emporium is a sort of a rather wan Willy Wonka type film, which Dustin Hoffman plays a toy shop owner who has slightly sort of extra abilities, shall we say. And it's, you know, it's pleasing on the eye, but it's candy floss in a way. And you don't put Natalie Portman in candy floss.
I just think sometimes, you know, actors get a bit unlucky. You know, they pick a few films, the scripts are interesting, the planets weren't quite aligned, they don't come out quite the way you expect. But I also think she's someone who probably wasn't being offered, you know, more conventional, you know, typical Hollywood movies.
I think she's very self-aware. She's sort of too intelligent in a way to be a star, because she becomes very aware of her choices and maybe aware of wanting to get away from the idea of Natalie Portman being something heavyweight or something sort of serious. And I think she was looking for some films that just lighten the mood a little.
She had a bit of a wobble when she made a couple of films that didn't go anywhere. Blueberry Nights is not very good, and the one she made with Dustin Hoffman is... It's interesting to see them work together, but it's not Dustin Hoffman at his best anyway. And I think that there's a moment when you know that young actors preached against older actors definitely feed off their energy, and they can nourish them or they can completely mess them up. And I think in that case, he messed her up rather.
I think later on, when you see her choices, she was probably someone who may have thought, actually, I do need to have the odd hit movie, and you'll sort of start seeing some more conventional choices creeping in.
Hey there, brother, watch your little lady.
Sam's dead. He crashed.
What are you talking about?
He's dead, Tommy.
Time now for the top film that you probably haven't seen. Now, every movie star has some great films that just don't qualify as blockbusters, but are definitely worth seeing. In Natalie's case, it's the hard-hitting remake of a Danish film, Brothers.
It was fantastic. I've known Toby since I was 14 and Jake since I was 18, so you already have a history that you can bring to the relationship instead of, you know, being like, hi, nice to meet you, I'm your wife, and then starting filming, which often happens.
I saw Brothers. I saw both versions of Brothers. I saw the original Danish version of the film, and I saw the Hollywood remake with Natalie and Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire. And I thought she was great in the film, and I thought it was a good film, but it's just one of those movies where critics are always just going to say, oh, it's a remake, what's the point?
She's married to Tobey Maguire, but he had gone off to war. She thought he was dead. Then she falls for Jake Gyllenhaal. Then Tobey Maguire comes back into the frame, and obviously all hell breaks loose. But, you know, this was the first time you saw her playing the role of wife and mother, and, you know, the themes were very serious, and it was a pretty hard-hitting performance, I thought.
It's a study of returning soldiers, you know, coming back from Iraq in this case. And again, it was kind of the shift back into tonally more challenging areas with a kind of, almost a kind of foreboding spirit to it. It's got a sense of doomed, cracked relationships and the struggle to make sense of something. Yeah, it's melodramatic, but it kind of makes a kind of sense. And she's good. She's very good at sort of wounded intelligence, wounded innocence, and that kind of holding back in of emotion.
I locked that door.
It's broken.
Natalie wowed audiences everywhere when she starred as a disturbed ballerina in Black Swan. She took advantage of her ballet training as a kid and ended up winning the Oscar for Best Actress for her performance.
I started training for the film a year ahead of time. We started with ballet, just straight ballet. Then we started adding in swimming to sort of cross-train to get my body right, and doing more ballet, and then we added in the choreography. So by the end, it was like 8 hours a day.
I mean, Black Swan was such a surprise because Darren Aronofsky hadn't really, you know, had huge hit films. Ballet itself is a tough thing to do, but I think she really, really pulled it off. And I think it was actually perfect casting because she plays this very professional ballet dancer who can play the white swan, but can she play the black swan?
Which of you can embody both swans? The white and the black.
And this has always been a bit of an enigma at the heart of Natalie Portman. You know, we know that she is this incredibly professional person who can bring all of that talent to the screen, but is she kind of dark and crazy and unhinged enough to play sort of some of the, you know, to bring those other flavours to roles? And I think she proved with this film that she could.
I just thought it was a real tour de force. She just completely captured this fragile, paranoid ballerina, and who was just living on the edge and, you know, seeing things, and it was this dark thriller, and there was that erotic tension between her and Mila Kunis, and then Vincent Cassel as her coach, just pushing her. I mean, I just thought everything came together in that film, and she was at the core of it, really driving it all.
The fouettiere like a spider spinning a web. Attack it! Attack it! Come on!
I think her Oscar for Black Swan was very well deserved. It is one of the very few examples of basically a horror film being awarded an Oscar, and that's what it is. It's a very, very sophisticated horror film, and she nails that sort of crawling sensation of somebody about to explode, about to crack. but not quite doing it until the final moment. And I think that's quite a hard act to sort of pull off. And she does it magnificently. So yeah, she deserved the Oscar for that.
You are such an overachiever.
Thank you.
Having won an Oscar, there was clearly one more thing left to do. Star in a film opposite Ashton Kutcher. That's what you get for winning an Academy Award, I guess.
Again, I think she was certainly kind of lining the load. You know, maybe Black Swan had been a huge deal for her and a huge physical effort. That you come out of that and you just really want to take it easy. You know, sheer exhaustion probably led her to think, well, I'll just do some stuff that's not going to demand so much of me.
She'd never really done a conventional rom-com before. And also, I think, you know, you've got to remember that No Strings Attached and the other kind of rival film that was being made at the same time, Friends with Benefits, they were actually trying to move the dial a bit in terms of what a rom-com is.
I work 80 hours a week. I need someone who's going to be in my bed at 2 a.m. who I don't have to eat breakfast with.
I hate breakfast.
Good.
It's a very forgettable film, but I think at that time her choices were kind of predicated on popularity and trying to be a bit more than serious Natalie Portman.
It was very unfortunate that her dear friend Mila Kunis ended up in a very similar movie with Justin Timberlake called Friends with Benefits, which was exactly the same premise, but theirs was just much more funny, and there just wasn't a lot of chemistry between her and Ashton Kutcher.
It was a chance to kind of try out that kind of mainstream genre, but do it in a slightly quirky way. And, you know, I think it was a good thing for her to do, and it probably will help Hollywood see her a bit differently and you know, presents her for different kind of parts.
These days, Natalie continues to mix it up as she always has, combining blockbuster Hollywood fare like Thor with Terrence Malick films. And not many people do that.
They're the only clothes I had that would fit you.
They will suffice.
I think that Portman rather enjoys doing, going from a serious project to some wacky thing. I think she likes challenging herself. I don't think she wants to be thought of as just a serious actress, because she's already proved that she can be just a serious actress.
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Sorry, Izzy, little accident.
What was that?
It was delicious. I want another.
Well, you could have just said so.
I just did.
No, I mean, ask nicely.
I meant no disrespect.
All right, well, no more smashing. Deal?
Natalie Portman's busy as always. She's got a few things in the pipeline, namely working with Terrence Malick on his new film. She's doing Thor 2. She's busy being a mom. And she's also got a film production company who are apparently developing a Pride and Prejudice zombie movie. So I'll be looking out for that one.